Aeonic life. All those who come forth from him, who are the eons of the eons, being emanations and offspring of his procreative nature, they too, in their procreative nature, have given glory to the Father, as he was the cause of their establishment. This is what we said previously, namely that he creates the eons as roots and springs and fathers, and that he is the one to whom they give glory. They have begotten, for he has knowledge and wisdom, and the totalities knew that it was from knowledge and wisdom that they have come forth. They would have brought forth a seeming honor. The Father is the one who is the totalities, if the eons had risen up to give an honor individually. Therefore in the song of glorification, and in the power of the unity of him from whom they have come, they were drawn into a mingling and a combination and a unity with one another. They offered glory worthy of the Father from the plurimic congregation, which is a single representation, although many, because it was brought forth as a glory for the single one, and because they came forth toward the one who is himself the totalities. Now this was a praise, the one who brought forth the totalities, being a first fruit of the immortals, and an eternal one, because having come forth from the living eons, being perfect and full because of the one who is perfect and full, it left full and perfect those who have given glory in a perfect way, because of the fellowship. For, like the faultless Father, when he is glorified, he also hears the glory which glorifies him, so as to make them manifest as that which he is. The cause of the second honor which accrued to them is that which was returned to them from the Father, when they had known the grace by which they bore fruit with one another because of the Father. As a result, just as they were brought forth in glory for the Father, so too in order to appear perfect, they appeared acting by giving glory. They were fathers of the third glory according to the independence and the power which was begotten with them, since each of them individually does not exist so as to give glory in a unitary way to him whom he loves. They are the first and the second, and thus both of them are perfect and full, for they are manifestations of the Father who is perfect and full, as well as those who came forth, who are perfect by the fact that they glorify the perfect one. The fruit of the third, however, consists of honors of the will of each one of the eons, and each one of the properties. The Father has power. It exists fully, perfect in the thought which is a product of agreement, since it is a product of the individuality of the eons. It is this which he loves and over which he has power, as it gives glory to the Father by means of it. For this reason, they are minds of minds, which are found to be words of words, elders of elders, degrees of degrees, which are exalted above one another. Each one of those who give glory has his place, and his exaltation, and his dwelling and his rest, which consist of the glory which he brings forth. All those who glorify the Father have their begetting eternally. They beget in the act of assisting one another, since the emanations are limitless and immeasurable, and since there is no envy on the part of the Father towards those who came forth from him, in regard to their begetting something equal or similar to him, since he is the one who exists in the totalities, begetting and revealing himself. Whomever he wishes, he makes into a Father, of whom he in fact is Father, and a God, of whom he in fact is God, and he makes them the totalities, whose entirety he is. In the proper sense, all the names which are great are kept there, these names which the angels share, who have come into being in the cosmos along with the archons, although they do not have any resemblance to the eternal beings. The entire system of the eons has a love and a longing for the perfect, complete discovery of the Father, and this is their unimpeded agreement. Though the Father reveals himself eternally, he did not wish that they should know him, since he grants that he be conceived of in such a way as to be sought for, while keeping to himself his unsearchable primordial being. It is he, the Father, who gave root impulses to the eons, since they are places on the path which leads toward him, has taught a school of behavior. He has extended to them faith in and prayer to him whom they do not see, and a firm hope in him of whom they do not conceive, and a fruitful love which looks toward that which it does not see, and an acceptable understanding of the eternal mind, and a blessing which is riches and freedom, and a wisdom of the one who desires the glory of the Father for his thought. It is by virtue of his will that the Father, the one who is exalted, is known, that is, by virtue of the Spirit which breathed in the totalities, and it gives them an idea of the seeking after the unknown one, just as one is drawn by a pleasant aroma to search for the thing from which the aroma arises, since the aroma of the Father surpasses these ordinary ones. For his sweetness leaves the eons in ineffable pleasure, and it gives them their idea of mingling with him, who wants them to know him in a united way, and to assist one another in the spirit which is sown within them. Though existing under a great weight, they are renewed in an inexpressible way, since it is impossible for them to be separated from that in which they are set in an uncomprehending way, because they will not speak, being silent about the Father's glory, about the one who has power to speak, and yet they will take form from him. He revealed himself, though it is impossible to speak of him. They have him hidden in a thought, since from this one they are silent about the way the Father is in his form, and his nature and his greatness, while the eons have become worthy of knowing through his Spirit that he is unnameable and incomprehensible. It is through his Spirit, which is the trace of the search for him, that he provides them the ability to conceive of him and to speak about him. Each one of the eons is a name, that is, each of the properties and powers of the Father, since he exists in many names, which are intermingled and are harmonious with one another. It is possible to speak of him because of the wealth of speech, just as the Father is a single name, because he is a unity, yet is innumerable in his properties and names. The emanation of the totalities, which exist from the one who exists, did not occur according to a separation from one another, as something cast off from the one who begets them. Rather, their begetting is like a process of extension, as the Father extends himself to those whom he loves, so that those who have come forth from him might become him as well. Just as the present eon, though a unity, is divided by units of time, and units of time are divided into years, and years are divided into seasons, and seasons into months, and months into days, and days into hours, and hours into moments, so too the eon of the truth, since it is a unity and multiplicity, receives honor in the small and the great names according to the power of each to grasp it. By way of analogy, like a spring, which is what it is, yet flows into streams and lakes and canals and branches, or like a root spread out beneath trees and branches with its fruit, or like a human body, which is partitioned in an indivisible way into members of members, primary members and secondary, great and small.